Amazon's Attack, issue 6. Josie Campbell writing with Vasco Georgiev.
Hey!
Wait, was that right?
Finally, it only took 6 issues to get through.
I don't feel like I said it any different than the last several times, to be honest.
You didn't stumble over it this time. You said it with confidence.
Oh, all right.
So that's a big piece of it.
I'll take it. Whatever. So this is the final issue of this, which does a bit of big reveals as far as what's going on and who's behind it. Obviously, the various Amazons have been getting possessed. And it turns out Asylum is, by her own words, the last true Amazon. I mean, she had an alias. She popped up in like an earlier issue as like as an employee at the political building or whatever it was. But she basically says that she was one of the original Amazons that were created back when the gods wanted to put the Amazons on Earth to interact with man and make man's world better, right? So they would teach them politics, warfare, art, science, leadership, whatever, right? They list a whole bunch of things. But as time went on, the men didn't like whenever they were smarter, all right? And Asylum, her whole thing is that she was wanting her sisters to fulfill their mission and therefore to basically do the thing where they pretend to be dumber, to make the men think they're smarter, to be subservient, to sort of fill their role and know their place, as she basically says that exact line at one point in this issue.
Yeah.
But she effectively got banished or whatever, and it was actually the old Themyscira that used to be connected. The earthquake sort of set her free, and she specifically says that she didn't cause the Pool Hall massacre. And I feel like that was very strategic because, like, okay, Tom King clearly is going to have his own reasons for why that happened.
Yeah.
But we're going to say that she used the chaos that came from that to start doing a lot of the things that she's doing. And she effectively wants to get rid of the Esquicida and the Bana Migdal because she says them as fake Amazons. She thinks they're pretenders. She wants to make Amazons subservient and, completely
which is the complete antithesis of what they represent for the Themyscira.
Basically, the villain of this story ended up being a representation of like a conservative white woman who thinks, no, a woman's place isn't the home. It is to listen to her husband.
We call them trad wives, right, for traditional. And they're the ones that go, no, don't go to school. You need to be at home and have babies. Yeah. It's like, well, if that's what you want to do, cool. But you shouldn't be forcing other people to follow your role. So I thought, despite how we got there, because I didn't feel like her identity and the whole asylum and all of that was meant to be one person, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that being revealed was a bit messy. However, her mission and how she wanted to destroy the Amazons, I thought was really clever.
It was interesting. It played into some really strong themes. I think this book has been very enjoyable, but it has at times maybe over-convoluted some of its plot beats, and I think that's an example of that. But obviously all the characters kind of breaking free and, like, shouting Shazam, shouting Wonder Girl. Not that she has to shout Wonder Girl, but just for the sequence of them all getting into action. That's like a fun moment. There's a line here that I really like in that page, actually, where Nubia says, "I refuse to make myself small so I can fit into narrow minds." I thought that was a really good line, actually. So yeah, there's a big action scene, obviously, with Asylum's like a flaming skull at this point, and it's huge.
She looks dope, right? Because she was killed. She was killed by Hercules by jamming 2 swords into her. So when she takes this full gigantic form, she's this flaming skeleton with 2 swords coming through her from her back.
Yeah, and
it looks metal.
She pulls them out and starts using them as weapons. But it's fun.
That's pretty cool.
And then the thing that's going on Earth is that all the people that are being controlled or working for
the apples.
Savannah's daughter. I'm trying to remember Savannah. Yeah. They're going to release all these golden apples that are going to give people give Asylum control over everyone to like shape the world as she sees fit. So they give some of the golden apples to Hoppy, who lets Mary basically just jump around portal to portal, just getting the apples from every. So there's a great page where there's just portals everywhere, and the art's really cool here because it's they're all different angles. And it's like here's Beijing, Paris, Moscow, London, just sort of jumping around, getting all the apples from everywhere. And notably, Savannah's like, until next time, Mary. And I'm like, oh, well, good job that she's writing Shazam, because I feel like that's going to come up at some point.
And the whole Magitech, they also use them as the henchmen. So I like that we've given names to them, Savannah's Magic Tech guys.
Yeah.
So...
yeah. So, I mean, yeah, they have a big fight. Nubia jumps up to the big flaming skull, slams some spears into her, and kind of, like, doesn't kill her, but, like, sort of brings her to Sergeant Steel and Peacemaker and says, here's the culprit, here's the one who's behind all this crap. And, of course, Sergeant Steel's like, I don't believe you. Why would I believe you? You're a criminal. And they're like, we don't care if you believe us, but here's the culprit. You know, we're not going anywhere. You're not getting rid of us just because you want rid of us, just because you don't think we belong here. Like, we're working to build a sanctuary to make peace with man's world, and women everywhere should have a better world. And they sort of show that this has had an effect, because there's this like teenage girl in the crowd who had like a sign saying Amazons equal hate or whatever. And then at the end, you see her with her dad, and she's put the sign in the trash because she's been inspired by the words. So simple enough message. You know, the end of it's Nubia talking to what was the Amazon's name? Our girlfriend.
Io.
Io. Thank you. Yes. Which honestly, I see that name and all I can think about is like the I/O on a computer, like on/off switch. But yeah, and it's basically like, hey, everyone's better off. We've kind of solved this, and everyone's happy. I think I really enjoyed the character interactions. I think what this book did more than anything else, though, maybe less so a coherent 6-issue, like really satisfying narrative. It was fun at parts, and I liked obviously a lot of the themes that the villain's motives at the end brought up. But for me, this was an issue where I got a really cool team up, or I say issue, a series. A really cool issue where Mary and like Cassie and Yara were teaming up. I got a really cool issue that made me really, really appreciate and like Nubia, a character who I've barely kind of interacted with. And then all these themes at the end I thought were fun. Not the best issue in the 6 issues, but I think it was a solid issue.
Yeah. So do you remember the Queen of the Bana Migdal? Do you remember her name?
Baruka.
Ah, we got it.
It took me 6 issues.
Yes, we got it. Good. Yeah, I was worried that they were going to try to make her the bad guy, because I love the idea of the Bana Migdal accepting new Amazons, right? And that makes them different.
Which is something Asylum does not like. How dare you let in any new people? Like, that's not that's a no-no.
That went against there, because she's almost like, again, she's a trad wife. She wants the old ways of things, and the old ways are only the Amazonian way. You know, of Themyscira and Paradise Island. So, of course. But so the fact that she was taken over by Asylum, I bullet dodged there.
And the part I kind of glossed over because I kind of forgot about it. Because I realized as I was describing things, it sounded kind of contradicting. Because I said, she wants everyone to be subservient, but then also wants the Amazons to then be separated again, and not, because she doesn't like that Nubia wants to intermingle Amazons with the rest of the world. The reason why both of those things are true is because when she realized that the Amazons wouldn't be subservient, she decided the best course of action was to completely separate all the Amazons off so that they wouldn't
to seal them.
Mess with man's world. So that was kind of her goal ultimately in the end. But obviously, which is why I think Nubia's line, "I will not make myself small to fit into a narrow mind." I thought that was a very poignant line. That kind of explains the themes better than I think you could with any analysis. And good.
Yeah. I also, too, when we get a bit into her backstory, she talks about, we weren't supposed to have favorite goddesses, but she liked Hestia, goddess of the hearth, which is the kind of the homemaker deity in Greek mythology.
Yeah. This is Asylum.
That was another nice, that was Asylum, which was another nice layer to her. It's kind of just who she was. It's not like her experience totally formed her, but it did push her over the edge. But she was kind of always this person that had believed in this version of the Amazons, and Hercules just set it free. So I do like that it wasn't just a trauma thing that made her that way. But a lot of fun. A little disappointed that this is the last issue. I thought this could have been a second ongoing for Wonder Woman where we get other tales of the Amazons.
I mean, I don't think it was ever planned as that. So at least it got its 6 issues, and we at least know Campbell's moving on to another book, and we're going to get more Mary in there. So I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll get another Wonder Woman mini, or well, I say Wonder Woman, I mean like a separate from Diana, like something like this again down the line. I don't know. We'll see. But the art was very consistent again. I think it does a good job with the performances. Steel gritting his teeth when he doesn't want to believe them is entertaining, or his raised eyebrow when they bring up the rabbit.
Yeah. I do love the continuity of just the Wonder Crew making him look like a fool, whether it's Diana or these guys. Just constantly, he can't get out of his own way. So I do love that. That's pretty.
Well, he's an ass, so it's fun to watch him be made to feel like an ass.
I know you're not that familiar with Dukes of Hazzard, but it was kind of like the sheriff on Dukes of Hazzard, where he's his own worst enemy because of that. And that's how Sergeant Seal feels.
Cool. There's a fun little bit actually inside Yara's head where the other possessed characters are sort of like telling her to give in and let Asylum take over. And there's a nice moment at the end of that page where like her eyes snap open as if to say, F this.
Yeah.
Like, you ain't taking me over.
Because she is the most defiant of them. That's kind of her character. And that's what we all loved about her when she was introduced. So, the fact that we get to see her inner struggle with it, that was a nice touch.
Yeah. So, good stuff. What are you giving Amazon's Attack issue 6?
I'll give this 7.5.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with that. I think the sudden, like, Asylum's just one person kind of as a bit of a throwing it off. But I liked everything it did with it after that, though.